This fifth video will talk to you about strengths. Strengths are a really important lens for looking at how you manage adversity and tricky situations that require you to be resilient. So, here's how it works. Have I got any gorgeous volunteers? Yeah. Take these, take one and pass it on. So, this is a strengths exercise which you can do for a team to collect everybody's strengths and then start doing a strengths mapping exercise. Have any of you worked on strengths before and done values in action survey or any of those Gallup or Strengths Finder or? Okay. So what we're going to do is you're going to list your strengths, and you can take what people have given you just now, and you can also read through this. So if I just show you here, there's a whole ton of strengths, loads of strengths. And you can take them from any section that you like. So if you think that all your strengths belong under the people section, people orientation, section 2, grab them all from there. I did this exercise once with a finance team, and their boss couldn't understand why they kept shooting off to talk to everybody in the business. And the answer was that none of them, they were all people-y people. So you wouldn't imagine that in finance. But she then said at the end of it, I completely get why they're never at their desk and they're always out talking to everybody in the business. Because that's what they like to do. They were high on empathy and kindness and all those other things which you might not expect from finance. So anyway, what you could do is you look through the strengths, look through what you've just been told, and write them down up to 12 in there. Sound okay? In your coaching pairs, you're going to give your partner your pages. And then you're going to compare everything to everything else. So, my gorgeous assistant here.
Do I need this?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to just show you on here.
Stick on for the camera.
So, these are just a bunch of random strengths here. And I'm going to ask Judith to look at each one and compare each one to another. And this is what you'll do. So I'm going to compare energy to creativity, energy to leadership, energy to drive, energy to work ethic, energy to practical, etc. And you work your way through the list. So I'd like you to think of all of these things. The question to hold in your mind when you're comparing one to the other is, what makes you feel happiest and most resilient at work? So thinking about what makes you happiest, most resilient, is it energy or creativity?
Energy.
Is it energy or leadership?
Energy.
Is it energy or drive?
Drive.
Is it energy or work ethic?
Work ethic.
Is it energy or practical?
Energy.
Okay, right. Now we're moving on. We haven't done all the list because I've run out of space. So now, is it creativity or leadership?
Leadership.
Is it creativity or drive?
Drive.
Is it creativity or work ethic?
Work ethic.
Is it creativity or practical?
Creativity.
Okay. Do you see what I'm doing? Yeah. So we're doing it very fast. I'm allowing her no time to think. And if she went, oh, help, I don't know, sometimes it depends. Then I'd leave it and I'd come back to
it. Is it what makes you happy, did you say?
So the criteria are happiest and resilient.
Right.
So that's the thought you're holding in your mind. It's not what I ought to do.
You don't have time to think it. You just have that in there. And
you go. So it's about banging it out. The minute you start to say, well, it depends, and I don't know, and why, and potentially, and if I'm on my bus, then it doesn't work. Okay, you just have to blam through it. Yes.
In totality, or just at work?
This is you at work, because the resilience piece is generally at work. I know that some of the conversations that we've been having are at home quite a lot, because the home piece comes back here. It's the foundation, isn't it? It's the foundation of how you are. But this, we're looking at your strengths at work, because this is where you have to really bring it. Okay, so what we're going to do now, has everybody added them all up and gone cross-eyed, double-eyed? Okay. Have you got a top 3 that you could identify, even if they're all, you know, you've got 3 that are the same?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Or 2. Right, because I've got 3 that are, so one of my top ones is humour. That may not be particularly helpful in this instance, because what I'm going to ask you to do is to look back, right? Do you remember at the beginning of the day, you were looking at your wheel of life, and then we were looking at where you were in terms of high, low, positive, negative energy. I'd like you to look back and just see, of all the things that we've done today, what is the one thing that if you brought your strengths to bear on it, you might have a different approach? So, for example, I was talking about a personal situation at home, because that's the thing that's the grist to my mill right now. So what I might say is, okay, how do I take courage and influencer, which are my top 2 strengths, humour, well, humour might do, okay, bring humour to this, to manage what I'm trying to do. So you take your strengths and you apply them to your situation. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so as well as answering some of these questions with your coach, you just think, how can I, given my situation, then how can I take my strengths and apply it to whatever it is that I want to work on? Is that clear? And why are we doing this? We are doing this because it's well known that if you use your strengths to do things that are difficult, actually we find the pathway easier to look for, and it doesn't seem like such a massive task. And if we're using our strengths, it's our natural place to go when we're thinking about capacity and when we're thinking about potential for solving things. So this is why we're focusing so much on strengths. It's much easier to do it from a position of where you're good than weakness and where you're not so good.